Hello everybody, Captain Happy here. I am coming to you today with a video that right at the top, I will tell you I had different intentions when I started recording stuff for this video. My intent here is to start a new series called Maiden Voyage, in which I take out ships that I have just unlocked and bought for the very first time, make a video about it, good or bad or otherwise, do all the type of stuff that I would normally do, cover some of the statistics and that type of a thing, but really kind of roll the dice on the first game and show you one way or another how it goes. So as you can see here, I have just unlocked and bought the Tier 8 French cruiser, the Charles Martel, and you can see in the upper corner there I have no XP. It's the very first time I have equipped these different modules, steering gear because I want maneuverability, aiming system because I love it on all my cruisers, doubling up on the speed factor here with propulsion modification, and then concealment, which is basically the default 5 level module. For captain skills, I've only got a 10 point, I mean 13 point, but priority target, adrenaline rush, and I think I'm going to take last stand. I'm not quite sure. The lower tiers kind of have a problem with engine and steering being knocked out. Demo expert for the fires, and to boost the concealment expert. So it pretty standard captain build so far. So let's jump right into battle and see what happens. Now, obviously, I'm in the position right now where I kind of know what happens, and that's where this video skews a little bit from where it's intended. Again, full disclosure, this was the first battle that I had, but on the latter half or latter part of this video, I've gotten 20 plus, I mean, I might even be up around 30 battles in the Charles Martel now, and my most recent one was one I couldn't resist making a video about. So, as you can see here, this was my first game, but this was something I got very used to for the first few goes in the Charles Martel. Now, obviously, if you're Tier 8, you're gonna see a lot of Tier 10 games. It's not the type of thing that surprised me that much. Also, as any cruiser can attest, whether you're more kind of like the Japanese line or even the German line, and you can have trolley armor. No, the French, at least to this point, definitely do not have what qualifies at all as trolley armor. If a battleship of pretty much any tier, but absolutely any Tier 10 battleship even looks at you sideways, you're gonna take some serious damage. So my approach was going to be trying to condition myself for these higher tiers and condition myself for what I know some of the Tier 10 cruiser, the Henry, which is obviously my target, some of the play style, some of the things, the ways in which I know you can play it or are supposed to play it, which is to utilize your speed, utilize your maneuverability, although very quick segue here on that. At least the Charles Martel, my feeling so far has been the rudder shift it leaves something to be desired. So in a future build, I actually, and this might be a little controversial, and actually I haven't played with it a tremendous amount, so I might even switch it back, but I actually switch out the level 5 module. I take off concealment and put in the rudder module, and so far I've actually liked it. The 1 kilometer or so difference in detection, yeah, it definitely makes a difference, but anyway, that's for down the road a little bit. What you see me doing here now, I didn't enjoy seeing our Iowa not come with myself and the Seattle and our Shima here to A. But I noticed right away that there is a DD in A, and looking at my detection, I can tell right where he is, and sure enough, there goes some smoke. So our Seattle pops his radar, and I put my guns as close as I can to where he's going to appear. And again, apologies for the little bit of glitchiness that happens with the replays. Not a bad first salvo. Get quite a few hits and reset the cap. Get kinda lucky there with that battleship, Kerfurst shooting at me. And my feeling, that kinda hurt, but so far so good. Alright, I hit the brakes, I kinda deked a little bit of that first salvo or two shot at me, and so far so good. However, looking at the amount of enemy ships coming this way, I know I gotta get the heck out of here. There's no way we're gonna be strong enough to contest for this cap. Another salvo comes in, not too bad. Oh, okay. Well, that was fun. Hooray, good first game. Way to roll the dice, and good video to post. You know, not much to see here. That was unfortunately somewhat indicative of many of my initial experiences with the Charles Martel. So really quick, while I have some time before this battle starts, now if you caught it there, similar makeup. We have a tier 8 CV, we have some tier 10 battleships, actually quite a few big mean battleships. So going into this battle, I was kinda saggy, let's put it. But context, I am grinding really hard for Ironium. It's the resource offered by Space Battles, or since Space Battles came out. But you can also earn some by doing some of the Fly Strike win. So I am at the point in this battle where I need, I think it was 7 or 9 aircraft kills for one of the achievements, and I needed 36k damage. And if I had achieved those 2 tasks, I would unlock the amount of Ironium that I needed to purchase myself the legendary module for the Henry. So I had a relatively low bar to achieve in this game, and I started getting more the feel for the Charles. It was something that it took a while for me to find my groove, and I'm still a ways, I'll admit, from finding it. But something I found is, well, I'm doing a little less of the open ocean sailing, relying on your speed to get away with it kind of thing, and doing more of a common cruiser trait. And you see it a little bit here, where I'm not exactly hugging the island, but I'm trying to put myself in positions where as few enemy guns can target me as possible. So not really relying as much on the maneuverability anymore. Although that being said, in the process of working with islands a little bit more closely, and now I'm kind of hugging it, one thing I did find very, very functional is the speed boost and reversing and going in. You see right there. Now, I don't know if those aerial torpedoes were aimed at me, but if they were, I was able to kind of jolt ahead a little bit and throw off his aim. But either way, right there, as you can see, I managed to take out a total of, I now have 10 total planes killed. So, hooray! That's one achievement knocked off, and still with only 6 minutes expired in the battle, I've got 11k damage. It's not record-setting, but I'm at the very least on pace for the small amount of 36 total. So far so good. I have no complaints to this point, and even you're looking around me on the minimap, there's plenty of friendly ships around me, and there does not appear to be a tremendous amount of enemy here contesting for C. To the northwest, there was last seen a Minotaur and a Conqueror. Now, both of those pose a major threat to a ship like the Charles. So despite the fact that there's only two, despite the fact that they're not really looking at me at all to this point, I am taking this very carefully, hoping to kind of move in and out of some of these islands, get some cheeky AP shots on the minnow maybe. Even though with the new Conqueror changes and raised Citadel and improved heal, I don't anticipate doing a tremendous amount of damage to the Conqueror, but a little bit here and there, and there's the minnow. So, AP already loaded, I was hoping to catch him. Didn't exactly punish him the way I would have liked to, but the flip side of that is I got away without being punished myself. Couple salvos out, and I had some return fire from the minnow, but I'm in a position where, well, okay, that one stung a little bit, the salvo from the Conqueror, but I'm in a position to not take too much, and why are shells coming from the left? I'll admit, in this game, the Cleveland being in that position absolutely 100% took me by surprise. At first, I almost, when I saw those shells arcing in to our friendly Kerfers, I thought it was a friendly, like maybe messing around, but no, it was a Cleveland, and thankfully he gets taken out by our Kerfer secondaries there, so he's no longer a concern, but quite a bold move on his part. So hit the brakes, I'm undetected, I've got an island covering line of sight between myself and the Minotaur and the Conqueror, so figure, yeah, let's get a cap, let's get ourselves some XP. I mean, yes, the achievements for the legendary mod are my primary focus in this game, but hey, I want to get to the Henry, so there are few ways in this game to accomplish garnering XP more than getting a cap or two, so hey, let's sit in here, let's get it, and I believe that'll be a solo cap too, so even better. Nice getting some AP on this minnow. I didn't lead him quite enough, and this is a moment that I almost didn't know if I saw it right. You saw one set of torpedoes from the Minotaur come out at the Kerfers, and they're within 2 kilometers of each other, and he missed every single torpedo. Don't ask me how. I know the Kerfurst is kinda nose in, but not entirely, and at that range, I'm not 100% sure how you missed every one. I've, just like everyone has experienced, I've had those torpedo salvos that have those perfect battleship and cruiser sized gaps, and they can be a little frustrating. I'm not so sure that that's what happened that time, but anyway, it doesn't matter tremendously. I mean, yeah, look at our Kerfer's position. The way the minnow sailed across, I don't know how we missed, but doesn't matter. So I decide at this point to, that minnow's in trouble. And I actually fully anticipated him being dead by the time I got anywhere near a position to get some damage in. But as it turns out, no, I mean, he stayed relatively safe, I'm guessing, hugging that island. And I'm also guessing our Cleveland there was a little reluctant, again, fearing the torpedoes. But hey, alright, look at that. He popped out and gave me a tier 10 kill. And before anyone decides to jump on me for kill stealing first, there's a few of those you could accuse me of in this replay. But I prefer to call them kill securing. And frankly, at this point in the battle, looking at it, yes, the enemy has 2 caps. and well, they did just get a ship back by killing our Henry. However, we have a pretty substantial ship advantage, and I'm feeling a little bit more bold. I noticed this Shima, like, I basically have to be mindful of the Conqueror to my right, but this Shima's kind of out and by himself, so I decided to kind of push the issue here at B, and at the very least, be a ship that deters him from coming middle and maybe coming towards C. As you can see, we have a friendly destroyer, a Z-52, right to the south, and then a whole cluster to the north. That Shima, if I were him, I would have shot for this Capt. We get away from a salvo in the Montana. Now, there was a good example of the advantage of the speed, where I knew I ended up seeing the Montana popping up. Didn't know that he was going to target me necessarily, but I wanted to hit my speed boost so I could get behind this island, put him between not only me and the Montana, but me and the Conqueror, and keep myself relatively safe. Now here, another gamble. I pop out, I'm invisible for a second, try and get a fire or so on the Montana, and I do get a fire. And I am back behind cover, yeah, with enough time that I avoid his second attempt to hit me. It's one of those things, again, if a Montana gets a good salvo, I'm toast. And that's when the enemy Henry pops out of smoke. Here, you know, this was one of those instances where he's low enough HP that what I was kind of figuring, alright, I'll trade out. You know, he may not kill me, I may kill him, but I was anticipating taking a fair amount of damage. And yet what you see here, I am using my speed boost, but I am jinking as much as I can, left, right, hitting the brakes, hitting the accelerator, and it threw off enough of his AP salvos that he did to this point pretty inconsequential damage to me, and it gave me enough time to get enough salvos off to kill him. That, however, is when that enemy Montana pops back up and has something to say about it. And as you could see right there, I didn't stand a chance. I'm not dead, but I am perhaps lucky to not be dead. So I immediately point my ship away, start hightailing it as fast as I can. It would be cool, get kinda lucky on that salvo. It would be cool to have more than just the 3 guns in the back, but again, he's a low health target enough that I'm okay with just running, just using my back guns and trying to set a fire. I do get a couple, and so for those of you keeping track, in this game so far, that's 1 minnow dead, 1 Henry dead, and we are moments away. Is my fire going to be the deciding factor? Yes, it is. So, in my Tier 8 Charles Martel in this game, where I only wanted plain kills and 36 or 38k damage, I accomplished both those feats and managed to take and secure 3 Tier 10 kills. So, at this point, it's looking, I mean, we'd have to throw pretty hard to lose this game. Overall, I was really, really happy with it. We do lose our Z-52 there, which extends things a little bit, but you can see I even make a comment in chat there that, yeah, alright, I'll take 2 or 3 Tier 10 kills. Secure as though they were, although I will say, there's a bit stronger of an argument for the validity of the kills on both the Henry and the Montana. But, you know, what strong argument can I really make for what my impact was other than securing when I've only got 42k damage? So I'm not letting it go to my head, but I am enjoying this experience. Certainly far more than what you saw my very first experience was in the Charles Martel. So my move here, we've got 2 Capts, and once again, I decide to pay attention to where that Shima could be. And the last known position is on the far side of that island there. So I roll the dice again here, and I'm like, you know, where would I go if I were him? And I figure I'd head to the north side, and sure enough, there goes the smoke screen, and I have it confirmed, though he wasn't spotted. He popped his smoke to avoid an attack from our friendly Implacable. But I know right where he is now, and he hasn't seen me yet either. So I decide, hey, let's use this speed boost again. Let's charge right in there, nose in. I don't have any idea at this point what his HP is like. And again, for what it's worth, this might have been the end of me. In fact, I was kind of counting on it. Like, I figured, all right, I'll charge him down. Maybe I'll force him away a little bit, get some added damage. But if I take one Shima Torp, I'm done. And, oh boy, look at that. He pops out of his smoke, and he's a one-shot. Outstanding. 4 T10 kills. And here, the aforementioned gap I was talking about being frustrating, actually plays to my advantage there. Looking at that, I may have been able to squeeze through some of those other ones, but the gap in that torpedo spread that I ended up being in position for was slightly wider than the other gaps between torpedoes. So that was very, very fortuitous, which I think overall this entire game could be qualified as. So here we get to a point, and I have another decision to make. That Conqueror is in range. Do I sit behind the island and try and farm? Screw it. Let's just go. So I push forward, start shooting at the Conqueror, get a fire, and I had reasonable fire RNG in this game, which he extinguishes. So I use my reload booster in part to try and relight a fire, but also in part because this game is over. Lastly, I want a Kraken now. I want a Tier 8 French cruiser Kraken with all Tier 10 kills, and I get it. So that was a game that altogether was absolutely, it was one of those feel good. It was my last game of the night. I accomplished, as you can see there in the bottom, both of the achievements that I needed, so I was able to buy myself the legendary for when I get the Henry. Altogether, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and it's one of those things that you hope for. It was just a great way to kind of wrap up my night playing World of Warships. For all of you out there, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was mildly entertaining and mildly informative. I didn't go as far into depth as I sometimes can, but maybe next time. This is Captain Happy signing off. I hope you all have a great day.